proudly presents Fight Night, coming to you live on Mnet Supersport from Morula Sun Hotel, Botswana. Lightweight contender Grant Messias, with power-packed fists, goes in against the lightweight champion Aladin for the South African lightweight title. Judging by his impressive record over the past 11 years, Aladin could possibly be tipped to retain his title against the relatively young challenger Grant Messias. In their first meeting at the same venue in April this year, Stevens earned a unanimous but controversial decision and is determined to leave no doubt in this return encounter. At 31, Stevens must be nearing the end of his career and cannot afford to lose against the young challenger, and a confident champion predicts a tough evening for Messias.
Die vorige gevecht tussen Stevens en Messias, het hulle gereken was baie geluk op uitslag. Maar ek het het gevoel dat Aladin in daardie gevecht genoeg gedoen het om te wen. Want Messias het baie hoog gestaan, maar baie min skoene oorgelaat. En Aladin het die meeste skoene volgens my geplant. En alhoewel ek nie beoordeel as mens, kan ek dan sien man een gevecht wen of verloor.
He's in a little bit of trouble here.
Big trouble in this stage of the fight, yeah.
Oh, right hand from Messias really stunned Stevens.
Oh,
but Messias goes back for the left hand. What a finish to the fight. What a great final round.
Oor die laaste gevecht kan ek nie veel praat nie. Ek dink nou aan die gevecht wat nou gaan plaasvind. En ek was goed voorbereid en ek sien uit vir 'n wen. En Messias moet oppas, want hy is in my pad.
Going into his 17th fight, Grant Messias is ready to break into the big time and faces the most crucial fight of his career. This time the national crown is at stake, and the chance to reverse his previous controversial defeat at the hands of Stevens. He is aware that he's up against a vastly experienced opponent and will have to work harder than last time.
I honestly thought that I had enough to win, although my work rate was a little low. Aladin Stevens wasn't really catching me, caught me on the arms. I thought I was the winner of that fight, and I think justice will be done second time around.
He's really trying with it.
I've got a game plan that I'm going to work to. Aladin Stevens is a good fighter, like everyone knows. He's a worthy champion of the lightweight title, but I believe come November the 22nd, South Africa will see the new lightweight champion, Grant Messias.
Jumbo Cash and Carry, the big one, presents the South African lightweight title on the Mnet Supersport.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, at the Morula Sun, let's get it on. 12 rounds of boxing for the South African lightweight title. There's no 3 knockdown rule. This is scored on a 10-point must system. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell. Our officials for this fight, the referee is Mr. Clem Martin. Your judges, Mr. Alfred Bukwana, Mr. Aubrey Skitter, and Mr. Stanley Sono. Your timekeeper, Mr. Brown Mkhotsi. And now introducing on my right, wearing the white trunks with the red shorts. He weighs in at 60.90 kilograms in 16 professional fights, 13 victories, 2 losses and 1 draw. Fighting out of Johannesburg, the number 3 contender for the South African lightweight title, Grant Messias. And introducing on my left, wearing the red trunks with the white trim, he too weighs in at 60.90 kilograms. In 50 fights, 40 victories, 6 losses and 4 draws, fighting out of Vosloorus on the East Rand, the South African lightweight champion, Aladin Stevens.
Listen to my commands at all times. Okay. Shake hands. Good luck.
Right, here we are at ringside at the Morula Sun. Leonard Neal calling the fight for you with Brett Taylor, the former South African junior welterweight champion, on my side here, who will be doing the co-commentary with me. Brett, here we go in the return fight between Grant Messias and Aladin Stevens. Their last fight, Aladin won a controversial decision. How do you see things going tonight?
Well, Leonard, last fight was very close. Aladin is an extremely strong fighter inside. So I'd say Grant's points to victory would be to keep that jab going, and countered straight right and left hook. Whereas Aladin on the other side should pressurize and work Grant's stomach.
Yes, Aladin, of course, known as the body puncher, will come in and close and try to keep it there as much as possible. He's got an amazing long reach for a short man and uses that, but gets in close, and those body punches of his can bring down the best of opponents. He's actually had 3 times the number of fights of his opponent tonight. He's going into his 52nd fight tonight as Aladin, making him the most experienced professional in the country. He and Gregory Clark, same number of fights, 51 each, and Grant Messias only going into his 17th bout tonight.
Aladin's coming off a tremendous win when he won the South African lightweight title against Abram Gomedi. And at his age, he just keeps on getting better. It's amazing, Len.
Well, he's been an amazing fighter. He's lost and regained the lightweight title 3 times. That's a record. I think it equals the record of Bill Dollery way back in the 1960s, who did the same thing. And strange to say, Bill Dollery lost the title to Andre Steyn, who's in Aladin's corner tonight.
Grant is just probing with his jab and his straight right. I think he's trying to set Aladin up for the big one.
Well, while they feel themselves out in this first round, the sad news to say is that Andre Steyn is in the corner of Aladin Stevens, but his father is missing. Wim Andries in hospital at the moment. He suffered a heart attack today. His condition, we hear, is fair, and we hope that he soon is on the road to recovery. We need trainers like Wim Andries around. Good punches from Grant Messias going in there, using a body attack himself.
Grant got that combination going, and it's nice to see boys throw combinations. These days, most fighters throw 1 or 1-2, but Grant got a nice combination there.
I think Grant has learned a lot of those kind of combinations from his chief sparring partner, Brian Mitchell.
That's correct. Grant's got the best sparring in the world. And if you look in both Grant and Aladin's corners, both fighters got former world-rated fighters as trainers. Andre Steyn, a great lightweight, and Harold Fulbrecht, a welterweight. So it's great advice I'll be getting tonight.
Yes, two well-versed fighters here when it comes to what goes on in their gymnasiums. And a nice even first round. The end of round 1 of 12.
That's it. You've hurt him, and then you let him go back. When you hurt him, step forward with him. Step forward with him.
Quite interesting to see the 4 more punches landed by Messias than by Stevens. Stevens, according to the computer, threw a lot more.
Len, in the last fight, Grant threw the more punches, but he is out of range. Tonight his range looks a lot better.
Well, certainly his body shots were going in much better in that round, and Aladin is the one who's the body puncher, but Grant was doing quite well with his own body blows there. Well, here we are into round 2, and it starts with a right hook going into the body from Grant Messias.
Grant's fortunate in having his trainer, Harold Fulbrecht, a great southpaw. He must have done lots of rounds sparring with him. So he doesn't seem to have a problem with southpaws like most orthodox boxers do.
Yes, I don't think you can get a better southpaw spar mate than Harold Fulbrecht. He's certainly got a good lineup of sparring there with Fulbrecht and Brian Mitchell to help him. Plus, of course, he's got those other very good fighters in the gym, Jerry Ngabeni and Coleman Malefi. He's a young fighter of whom a great deal was hoped. Didn't quite come off in his first few fights, but he seems to have settled down more of late. More of the professional approach. I like the way he slips and weaves out of the way of a punch there. Moves very smartly, and a low blow goes in from Stevens.
Stevens got a very sneaky overhand left, and Grant will have to watch out for that tonight.
Well, it's a jab and probe going on, and not a lot of effort. And Stevens did go in low there, gets a warning for that low blow. That's the blow Messias must watch out for, that looping right hand of Stevens's. The unorthodox southpaw hook and cross.
Messias has got a great jab, but tonight he's probing it. He should get it with force to keep Stevens on his back foot. And there comes up a nice right
Well,
hand.
that's exactly what he's trying to do there, that straight left, straight right. That's the way to push Stevens backwards. Steady boxing going on from Messias. He really is, for a young man with so few fights, a really composed type of opponent. But he does leaving himself open to that left hook.
Not much action at this stage. Oh, there catches him. But I think both these fighters got a lot of respect for each other, Len.
Oh, I do believe so. Stevens snapping in very nicely with both hands there. Caught his man coming in. Messias will have to watch out for that sneaky left hand.
And those body blows, they could take their toll later on in the fight.
Ja, en je slaat hem. Ja. Je slaat de staart en je slaat hem. Hij wordt niet
Both boxers just sizing each other up, and that's a sneaky overhand left that we were talking about. You know, it's going to be a very tactical fight. At this stage, the fighters are just feeling each other out there.
Grant in the slow-mo there seems to be overreaching himself with the left jab. He's not really pushing the left jab in. He's sort of running it over Stevens' shoulder. I think he needs to settle that punch in more.
I see Fulbright telling him to keep his hands, cover his body there.
Well, here we go into round 3. Scheduled for 12 at the Morula Sun on this Jumbo Cigarettes bill. Grant Messias challenging Aladin Stevens for his national lightweight title.
And Messias is very tall for a lightweight, and he's using his reach to his advantage. There, gets caught again.
And again, he's leaving himself open to that left hand. Stevens, a wily old customer, has found an opening for his left hand.
And Stevens catching with both.
That's another one goes in. And he hooks her right onto Messias.
Another factor, Messias has never been the 12 rounds. And Stevens has been that route plenty times. We have to see how Grant's stamina is.
Well, what Stevens is doing here is playing the counter-punching role very well. He's leaning back, pulling Messias into him and catching him.
Grant fights from a very upright stance, and Aladin can't really miss when he throws those overhand punches.
Yes, Grant is unfortunately has that ability to be too rigid, or when I say ability, perhaps that's the wrong word, but he does hold himself far too rigid at times.
I think he should get on his toes and pop that jab out and just get points at this stage.
Clever manner of blocking a man's best efforts there by Stevens, who forces Messias to open up and then hooks him with a right to the head. Still they're only in the 3rd round, but they're still doing a lot of the probing action here.
Aladin fights pretty flat-footed, but he's a lot better boxer than most people give him credit for.
Messias at this stage isn't doing an awful lot. He's walking forward, pushing out a tentative jab, but not doing anything with it. And I think he needs to put more effort into it. When he does open up, he gets caught with that left hand. And I think it's worrying him a little bit.
Now, what could work to his advantage is to throw a straight right simultaneously with, like he did there with Aladin Stevens, but put a bit more power into it.
But Stevens, the wily old veteran, not getting caught too easily by any of those blows. And that's the end of round 3.
Give me the sponge. How are you feeling? Hundreds. Okay, Grant.
Well, at this stage, Leonard have Stevens slightly ahead on points up to the end of round 3.
Swallows.
Yes, well, as you see from the slow-mo there, he was doing the better punch landing. The computer disagrees with us and says that he landed 17 as against 29 from Messias. And I don't quite know how it reaches that, because it certainly didn't look that way to me.
But you see, Messias misses a lot of punches. Aladin might throw less.
Well, two veterans of the lightweight division in the corner there, Aladin Stevens and Andre Steyn. Certainly between them have seen an awful lot of lightweight bouts against some of the best in the business.
I couldn't exactly hear Andre Steyn then, but I think he told Stevens to get his work rate up.
Well, I think they both need to be told that. Although, on the hot night that it is, there's only 3 rounds gone. You need to conserve yourself a little bit in a fight like this. Stevens picking those punches well. He actually looks for his target and lets it go. I don't know if you noticed that, Brett. He really goes into the body there.
That's right.
Good body punches from
He's catching
Stevens.
Messias with some devastating punches.
Stevens, and a nice left from Stevens, rattles off the chin. It's Messias throwing the long-range punches, but Stevens getting in with the crisper, shorter ones. And those are the ones that are telling.
Well, at this stage, Messias takes a good shot, but I don't know if he can continue doing that for another 8 rounds then.
And another left to the body from Stevens. Beforehand, Andre Steyn said to me, we're going to beat this man with a body attack. We'll break him up. And that's exactly what Stevens is trying to do now. The referee tells Stevens, keep him up a little bit. They going in on the line.
And he's out-jabbing Grant Messias. I thought Grant would have the faster hand speed, but Stevens is out-jabbing him. Then the last time they fought was a catch weight. I think Messias has had to drop a bit of weight this time, and it could have weakened him.
Well, he says the lightweight limit isn't worrying him, but I do have that feeling that he's stronger as the junior welter. He's a big boy. His right-hand work isn't very effective. That's one thing that I've noticed tonight. Messias' right hand is inclined to be a bit sloppy.
Yeah, Messias hasn't found his rhythm yet, Len. And I think his corner is going to talk to him harshly end of this round.
Well, it's something Harold Volber's going to do, because another left hand from Stevens sinks in there, and they're going to have to tell him to watch that, because that is going to tell in the long run. A lot of blows went in there. A good 4th round.
Well, then on your scorecard, you've got Aladin 3 points ahead at this stage, and I tend to agree with that.
Yes, he's as you can see here, he's marshalling the ring better. He's using the ring effectively, and he's waiting for his opportunities. He's letting Grant, as you can see in the slow-mo, throw those punches over, and he's coming in close. Those body blows of his are really catching his man. And yet again, the computer disagrees with us and says Messias landed 30 years against 21 from Stevens. But well, here we are in round 5 of this Jumbo Cigarettes bill at the Morula Sun with Grant Messias trying to take the lightweight title from Aladin Stevens.
With the fighter styles, it reminds one of the Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler fight. Hagler being the shorter southpaw and Hearns the tall orthodox fighter. And there again, Hagler the southpaw won, so it looks it's going that way tonight.
Oh, there you see the effect of counter-punching like that. Messias went in, let his left hand go, and Stevens threw it right over the top and caught his man very smartly with it.
One thing about Stevens, he's a superbly conditioned athlete. I've never seen him get into a ring unfit.
At 31, he still looks the part of a very, very good athlete.
Grant needs to get his combinations going. They were so effective earlier on in the fight, and he seems to have neglected it at this stage.
I don't think Stevens is giving him the chance to really get set for it, Brett. Stevens is actually moving more now than he did at the beginning of the fight. He's moving around very effectively, in and out. His body movements are very, very good.
He's a very shrewd counter-puncher, Stevens. He draws Grant in, and then he counters either to the body or with that overhand punch. But Leonard, one thing about Stevens, he learns from every fight. At Gomedi, he lost the first time. The return, he stopped him. And again here with Grant, last time was a close affair. And he seems to have learned from his mistakes.
Yes, he certainly is a person who comes back at you on the second time around. That sweeping left hook of his is catching Messias without any answer.
And Messias is cut there by the left eye. And Messias comes back with his own right.
Messias complaining about something there, but he's cut just above the left eye right, almost where it comes to the nose. Blood is trickling down. That could be an annoying cut if it's not stopped, because it could trickle into the side of the eye. It's not a dangerous cut, but it can be an annoying one.
The Messias might as well not be throwing that jab. It's causing having no effect. He could use it to his advantage.
He's certainly not putting himself behind it. It's a probe more than a punch. That's the end of round 5, and I think another good round for Aladin Stevens.
Tell them you're gonna fucking eat. Water.
Give him water, give him water, give him water.
Come, Khalid. Come in the bucket, Khalid.
And while we look at the slow-mo, let me tell you that March the 2nd, 1991 is a long, long way away.
Give him water.
But it'll soon be here, and on that night, or the early hours of that morning, we'll be able to watch Brian Mitchell, the WBA World Junior Lightweight Champion, fighting Tony Lopez, the IBF Junior Lightweight Champion, in a unification bout, the first time a South African has ever fought in a unification bout. And it's going to take place in Sacramento, California, about 100 kilometers away from San Francisco. Certainly a night to watch. It'll be live on Mnet. If you haven't got your decoder, well, Christmas is coming up. Save some of the cash and get one, because it's going to be a fight worth watching.
Stevens appears to be flat-footed, but he's a pretty elusive target, as Grant has found out here tonight.
Yes, we're in round 6 of this fight. 5 rounds have gone, and Stevens has certainly been showing mastery in those rounds. Oh. Messias is getting caught a little too easily. Sweeping blows from Stevens, both long looping punches, and they both rattle off Messias' cheeks.
Yeah, Stevens is making a chopping block of Messias at this stage.
Picking his man off very, very easily at this stage. This is such a contrast to their first fight, which was a close fight, but at this stage, Stevens looks the master.
You know, earlier on I said Stevens is an extremely strong fighter, and all his sparring has been against heavier boys. He's been sparring with the junior welterweight champion Aaron Carby and Danny Marburg, and he's really in tremendous shape and hitting very hard tonight.
The problem for Grant Messias here is that Aladin Stevens is doing everything right.
That's right, and his eyes started bleeding again, which can be quite irritating.
Just over a minute to go in this 6th round of this bout, the halfway mark coming up. And Steve Messias is doing little more than walking around trying to probe punches forward. He's not really doing anything effectively.
He needs to try something different. What he's doing isn't working. So I think he should get on his toes, jab, and get points. You know, he's trying to mix it with Stevens, and Stevens is too strong for him.
Yes, I'm surprised he hasn't kept behind the left, hasn't pushed himself into left jabs. And even at this stage, with a cut above the eye, you'd think he'd really get into that rhythm, but there's no rhythm in his movements.
Yeah, what I feel, these South African promoters need to give Aladin a chance in the world arena now. And I believe the winner of tonight's fight has got a chance to fight the former WBO champion, Mauricio Aceves. And thereafter, probably fight Dingon Tabela, our own champion.
Well, that's the offer to the winner of this fight, that Mauricio Aceves will be the man that they fight. And at this stage, we've reached the halfway stage. And at this, I think we do have Aladin Stevens pretty well ahead on points.
Well, the computers agreed with us for once.
Yes, it's swinging around in our favor. Aladin Stevens landing 26 punches, that against 20 from Grant Messias. And I think the true story is now coming out, because Messias is certainly not having the best of things here.
You know, they used to call Stevens the Black Stain. And as we all know, the Stains were a tremendous fighting family. And Stevens is proving them right tonight. And I'm sure he's still, at that age, he's still got a fairly long career ahead of him.
Well, you know, one wonders, Brett, if age really counts, because here you have a 31-year-old man looking as good as any fighter you've seen in this ring. He's boxed halfway through this fight and looks very, very good at it. Can he keep it up for the next 6 rounds? That's the point.
John's falling into that right hook of Aladin's.
Yes, Messias looks as though he's trying to just set himself up for one punch, and that isn't going to work at this stage of proceedings.
No, Grant's lost his snap. I think those body blows are taking their toll, no?
It's strange to say that Stevens is now concentrating more on the head. He was doing so well with the body attack earlier. Now he's going more for the head. And doing it quite well too, if that takes any consideration. And back to the body goes Stevens.
All credit to Grant. He's taken some devastating punches tonight and hasn't seemed to wobble.
Interesting contrast here, of course, is because Stevens, at 31, can hope if he wins here for a chance into the world honours. But what does Grant do if he's a young man like that, if he gets beaten? Where does he really go from here? Stevens, I should think, looking for a breather now in the 7th round. He's taking it a little easier, and I don't blame him. He's put up a good performance. He's put in a lot of work in the first 6 rounds.
And the end of a very quiet 7th round.
A very quiet 7th round there was. I don't think there was anything really in it. While we watch the slow-mo, let's just tell you, on Sunday night, around about 10 o'clock, on Mnet Supersport, you'll see the ATP doubles final tennis from Queensland, Australia. The tournament being played at Sanctuary Cove, around about 10 o'clock on Sunday night.
Will you stay compact? Just work. Go, make him go back. You hurt him and then you leave him off the hook. Don't leave him off there. Follow up. Push him a bit, okay? Come on, boy. That's it. Jab the foot in front.
It's round number 8 and a very eager Aladin Stevens coming out this time. He took a breather last round. I think he wants to do some action this time. Well, the way Alan came out at the beginning of that round, I really thought we were going to get a lot of action from him, but he's gone right back into the semi-defensive counter-punching role, and not a lot going on in this ring.
Grant isn't landing many clear blows, then. Aladin's been very elusive.
Well, he's always had that ability to use the old weave and sway, and does it very effectively.
I think Harold told him to pick up his work rate because Grant is pushing Aladin back this round. But he must just watch out for that sneak overhand right that Aladin throws.
Yes, I think it's the kind of punch Aladin will wait for and let go just now. Grant making the mistake there of, when he does go in, opens up too much, and Stephen is quick to catch on to that one. Quick to see the opening and get in close. Stephen, of course, knows there's still another 4 rounds after this to go, and quite prepared to just ease it up a little now. Takes the left hook to the head, which he hasn't taken very many of those during this fight. There comes the sneaking left overhand. A little bit of blood trickling from Grant Messias' one nostril now.
Grant, a very tall lightweight, hasn't made advantage of his height and reach tonight. There through a nice combination.
Harold Wahlberg seems to have done a good job on the eye. That cut hasn't opened again. And there's the clever counter-punching by Stevens as he moves around there, hooks the left into the body.
They've managed to do a good job on the eye, but now, as you say, he's bleeding from both nostrils now.
Messias actually looking a little bit better at the moment. The jab getting through. Almost as many punches thrown as the gong went than during the entire round.
Okay, put that thing on the back of his head. Probe it.
Je moet hem terugkrijgen, je moet hem terug bewegen, maar pas op met hem.
Well, we're 2/3 of the way through this lightweight title bout on the jumbo cigarettes built at Morula Sun. A very, very hot night here, and I think the heat started to take a little bit of toll out of these fighters. Aladin Stevens, who did so remarkably well in the first half of the fight, seems to be perhaps showing the signs a little bit of that heat. The perspiration pouring profusely from both men.
Messias is a determined fighter, but he needs to do a lot more work if he intends winning this fight.
There's not a great deal of variation in his work. I think that's one of his drawbacks. Has been perhaps right through his career. He's a tall fighter, and he's inclined to let himself get back too much into that tallness.
Yeah, he's pretty predictable then. But I must say, Aladin's lamp shines once again. He never ceases to amaze me.
Messias actually looking a little bit better at this stage of proceedings than he was earlier. Doing a lot more work, throwing a lot more punches.
He's starting to lead with that right hand at times, and it's catching Stevens.
I'm surprised he wasn't doing it a lot earlier. But there he leaves himself open and takes a rattling good left hook to the head.
Stevens is a tremendous counter-puncher. He lures Grant into that trap every time.
He certainly has mastered the art of counter-punching, and he's shown it up here. But nice body blows from Messias.
Nice combination.
Opened up there for a change. A good rally from Messias there, the best he's shown all right through this fight.
Stevens gets in with a good
But
shot.
there you get that clever counter-punching from Stevens coming in again. A wily old customer, this. He's not beaten till he's down.
Grant's shown he can take a good punch, but that's not the point of this game.
Well, that's a lot nicer. He leaned over and looked for the body himself for the left hook.
He's been very mechanical tonight. Now he starts to see Ray Leonard advancing.
Well, they're both doing it, and there's no need for that. Absolutely no need for that kind of thing. Not in a tense moment in a fight like this. Here we come up to the end of the 10th round. the 9th round.
You got to time him perfect. Give him water, Edward. You got to time him perfect with that right uppercut. Just don't throw it, or don't show him you're going to throw it. Okay. Give him water. We need this next one.
Three rounds to go. Grant Messias versus Aladin Stevens for the South African lightweight title. It's actually become quite tense. Messias shaping a great deal better in this stage of the fight than he was earlier on when Stevens had total mastery of things. Stevens picked up his work rate quite a lot here and actually putting in a lot better punches in the last 2 rounds. Still having to battle to get past that very clever counter punching of Stevens.
Then if Messias wants to pull this out the bag, he's going to have to do a lot more work. There's only 3 rounds left to go. And he has to increase his speed rate and work rate. But both fighters in tremendous condition, and it's a pleasure to see this.
One of Messias' drawbacks, of course, is that he uses one punch at a time. He doesn't put them together. There's no combinations. It's a left, then another left, and occasionally a right will go through. But he doesn't get them all together.
Yeah, when he did throw the combination in the last round, it was so effective.
He really came through well. And yet when he moves like that, he throws that short right uppercut, then a left hook over the top. He shows that he does have a variation in his punching, which he doesn't bring out too often.
Opstoppers voor de dag gekomen.
Hij werkt op het ogenblik alleen, maar ik denk dat Steven...
Clever defensive work there by Stevens. Referee hasn't had a lot to do in this fight. He's had Clem Martin. He's had a fairly easy passage. There we see
fighters working the body.
Good body punches going in there. Stevens, if anything, the better puncher of the two. Knows how to hook around the corner as well as in close. Messias doesn't know that much. Referee warns Stevens for a kidney blow. Punches going in pretty well from close range. And the end of a pretty vigorous 10th round.
Wil je naar mij luisteren of wil je luisteren naar mij? Luister. Ja, luister gaan. Ik zal slaan als je er nog gaat komen. Doe niet staan om staan druk niet. Het kan niet punten niet. Je moet slaan.
Well, the computer said both landed 21 punches, and Brett and I between us couldn't decide a winner and said it was an even round. So we all agreed for once.
When you hit him with right uppercut, you come back with the left hook. You've got to start working now. All right. Come on, boy.
Harold Volbrecht in the corner, really trying to spur Grant Messias onto an effort here. 2 rounds to go, and I think Messias really needs to come out to do something now.
A very important fight this for both fighters, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of action in the last 2 rounds there. But Aladin's definitely been hitting the more authoritative blows tonight.
Well, he's picked his blows better, especially the body shots. Quite interesting there, in a flurry of blows like that, they're going all over. Stevens throwing less, but getting in more. And he uses that body movement very effectively, sways out of the way of the best of Messias' blows. Sweeping left from Stevens. That's the blow that's giving Messias a lot of trouble.
And then Messias got his right uppercut that Harold Volbrecht's been telling him to throw all the time. Eventually he's got it in.
And there's where Messias makes the mistake. He walks straight into a barrage of blows and they all bounced off his chin. He does make that bad movement of leaving himself wide open at the wrong moment like that. And Stevens is very, very quick to catch up on it.
With less than a minute in the 11th round, Grant definitely needs to pull something out the bag.
Yes, it's a pity that we have 2 fighters of this caliber in the division at the same time.
The whole night, Grant hasn't found his rhythm, and Stevens has hit him with some devastating blows.
Well, Stevens, of course, has thrown him out of his stride for most of the way. He's counter-punched beautifully. He's let Messias do the leading and then counter-punched and thrown Messias right off balance. And that's the end of the 11th round.
Jy slaan nie genoeg. Dis my. Jy slaan nie genoeg.
And there we have at the ringside, on the right, Brian Mitchell. On the left, his promoter, Rodney Berman. 2 men getting together at the moment for the biggest night of Mitchell's life. May early hours of March the 2nd, California. Mitchell will be fighting Tony Lopez, the IBF World Champion, in a unification bout. And, of course, that fight will be on Mnet. The early hours of Saturday morning, March the 2nd next year. Well, here we come into the final round of this 12-round fight. It's been a tough one, a grueling bout between a wily old champion and a tough young pretender.
Grant needs a knockout to win this fight.
Well, that's quite a statement to make at this stage, but I'm inclined to agree with you, Britt. A very, very clever counter-punching performance we've had here tonight from Aladin Stevens. And the interesting point there is Messias is trying to beat Stevens at his own game of body punching, whereas right through this fight, you'd have expected him to have rammed that left in with more authority, used the long right with power, but he hasn't been doing it.
Yeah, Grant's always had good hand speed, and I thought he'd be too quick for Stevens. But tonight, Stevens appears to be catching him with ease.
Well, he's used very effective counter-punching, very effective body punching.
Well, that could have slowed him down, Len. I'm sure it has. Grant is telegraphing. He's trying for that big one now. But Stevens too clever for that.
He's too clever. Strange to say, there's been times when Stevens has telegraphed that long left over the top, but he's caught Messias with it. Well, a minute and a half to go in the fight. I don't think there's any prospect of a knockout now. And these two must be pretty weary men after a hard night's work. That long left of Stevens's goes through again. Rattles off Messias's chin. Messias has taken those punches very, very well. He hasn't flinched once.
Len, I'm sure we're still going to hear a lot of Grant Messias. He's got tremendous potential. And it's just unfortunate he's come up against a greater Aladin Stevens tonight.
A wily old veteran who takes an awful lot of beating.
This has been a very interesting and tactical fight for the boxing connoisseur. You're two clever boys in here, and it's really been good to see.
This has been what a left hand like that. And yet Messias again comes right in. Give him credit, he's ridden those blows well. But what a superb piece of counter-punching by Stevens there. Well, that's the end of it. That's the end of it. Brett, at the end of their first fight, I thought Grant had just about shaded it. But tonight, I'm afraid I must make Aladin Stevens a very comfortable winner.
Yes, Len, definitely Aladin's fight. And it's by comfortable points margin.
Well, we'll wait for the judges to give their verdict. But on our scorecard, if you want to hear it, I have Stevens 5 points ahead. And I think he's been that much the master all the way through. He's actually caught Messias with some very good counter punches. His counter punching has been really superb.
You won what? What did you win? What did you win? You didn't even win a round.
I'm sure Andre Stein in hospital will be happy to hear about the decision tonight.
Well, I hope it certainly gives Andres the upliftment he obviously needs. We hope he is up in the not too distant future, and we'll see him again in the corner here.
Yeah, bad sportsmanship coming from Messias over there. But Stevens is definitely a comfortable winner. I know what they got to graph about.
Well, we have Dr. Joe Javu, the chairman of the Transvaal Boxing Board, with the championship belt in the ring. Darren Scott about to give you the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges score the fight as follows. Judge Bukwana scores it 116-114. Judge Skitter scores it 117-114. Judge Sono scores it 118-112 for the winner. And still, South African lightweight champion, Aladin Stevens.
Well, there you have it, Aladin Stevens, the winner on points. The judges giving it to him by 2 points.
To Aladin Stevens, the chairman of the Transvaal Boxing Board of Control, Dr. Joe Jivu.
One judge giving it by 2 points, another by 3, and one by 6. Quite a contrast, and we made it 5. So I think it's a pretty good verdict all around.
And the crowd are happy with the fight. They're throwing money into the ring here, Len. Russell McMillan's been picking it up.
Well, a very, very good performance by Aladin Stevens. Superb counter-punching has retained him his title at the age of 31.
And let's just hope they give him his chance now for world title honors.
Well, this is Leonard Neal at the ringside with Brett Taylor.